Hey YouTube, this is Southern Purple One. I'm going to give you another boots on the ground intel report. I don't know if you can see all that. Oh my gosh, I didn't even write them all down. I appreciate them, keep them coming. It's just more data points. I try to acknowledge everyone with a thank you, but if I didn't, I apologize. I am very appreciative of this information because I'm getting a lot of people thanking me for doing this. So it's rewarding knowing that I get huge value out of it, and other people do too. So the 30 seconds you take to send a little email to me in regards to what's going on, boots on the ground, logistics, work problems, layoffs. I will tell you that I am full speed ahead on prepping. Trying not to waste any time. You might hear my son in the background unloading a trailer with round bales for the cow. The cow is still over, has not come in heat yet, so very soon they expect it, and then it will be bred. After that, it'll be brought over here, and then 9 months later, hopefully, we have a calf and we get milk production flowing, and then we'll have milk. I urge you, I beg you, I beseech you, do your best on the prepping. It is downright scary, the amount of emails I'm getting, and I see the key thing is people are being laid off because they can't get parts to do their job, or companies are cutting costs and trying to lower what they're spending every month. It's phenomenal. It's downright scary. I feel very sorry for those that are affected financially. It is heartbreaking. People not being able to get enough hours, and it's sort of weird because there's so many jobs wanted, or so many jobs to be filled, but then in certain areas people can't work because there's a simple part keeps them from running their production line. So let me get right into it. Oh my gosh, lots to cover. Let's go. This is in the middle of the country. This worker was telling a customer that Harbor Freight is having no shipments into their stores. Very limited stuff coming in because the warehouse is getting empty, and that could be because everything comes from China and shipping from China has stopped. Major bank on the East Coast, the actual debit cards, the credit cards, the actual cards, hard to get. Midwest manufacturing, now they're at 24 weeks the delivery times of things they need for their plant. Normally it would be 4 to 6. Vendors will not confirm delivery times to them. They have no idea when they can get them the thing they need. And vendors are requiring 50% down to process the order. This guy's wife works in banking, and she's saying there's a lot of money being moved into the bank. So I guess people are trying to liquidate some investments, maybe stocks, and the bank is flush with cash. People looking for safety, and at least cash in the bank is safe, but it's not as safe as you think. Next, pest control company. They make organic bait for grasshoppers, and they actually put out a email. I saw it. They sent it to me, not the company, but a person. Supply issues, so they can't produce any till 2023. Good one. Railroad. Guys worked there for 15 years. He has seen the transportation side of the collapse firsthand. I'm not going to name the company, but a major railroad company is selling locomotive back to the bank. They usually do 8 trains a night. This guy does. Now they're down to 2. That's huge shipping delays now. Huge. So 8 trains down to 2. He says safety is being pushed to the back. Priority is moving freight. Nothing can wait for proper repair or an inspection. Also, he's seen massive stealing, people opening containers and stealing items. Never seen this like this at all. Maybe this because trains are stopped everywhere, so the opportunity is there. Before they were moving constantly, so less chance to open up a container and seeing what you can steal from it. This is in the center part of the country. A large city police force is short 400 officers. They have 94% decrease in people applying for officer jobs. They've seen an 83% increase in homicide this March from last year. Short on flares for traffic controls for accidents. 5.56. They don't have enough, so there's no training going on with their rifles. The city is failing to purchase new uniforms. The uniforms thing is popping up everywhere. And when equipment breaks, it can't get replaced. They're short on patrol cars. They actually are sharing patrol cars. So for the next shift to come in, sometimes the officer going on his new shift has to wait 2 to 3 hours for the car. So if the officer from the first shift is still actively doing something, the next guy can't even get on the road. He's got to wait for that car. So 2 to 3 hours of sitting around or doing paperwork. Also, they are so overwhelmed. Some calls, there's a 3+ hour wait for officers to respond. They had a serious domestic call with a violent injury. It took 3 1/4 hours to get an officer to respond. Public safety is deteriorating. Canada, somebody sent me this. Our good friends up in Canada, Trudeau is, I guess, going to ban the imports and the sale and transfer of all pistols, and also a ban on magazines over 5 rounds. I didn't look at any articles on that. I saw the news, but this is from someone from Canada. So I don't know any more details of what the actual legislation is going to be, or if he just did some type of an executive order. Texas. This is in a nice RV park. This guy lives there, and he is very close to the interstate. He can sit outside and watch 18-wheelers go by. And he says in the last couple months, the 18-wheeler traffic has decreased enough where he can notice it. His brother-in-law is a truck driver, and he delivers pretty much the same route. He goes and gets Toyota parts and takes it to the factory. There is no Toyota parts to get, so he's gone from 5 days working to 3 days working. Also, the spots in his RV park, they normally have 275 spots. They're normally 80% full at this time. They're only 60% full, and the office lady in the RV park says people are canceling due to the expense of traveling. Also, his rent went up 10% in April, so he is paying for $660 for a 60 by 20 spot. He gets water and septic, and that's all for $660, and he has to provide the camper. This guy, his brother owns a construction company. He first started seeing a lot of shortages in the large, complex items, washer, dryers, appliances. Now it's simple things like tubs, fixtures, flooring, adhesive, special caulk. They just can't get it. Huge delays. The problem is he's getting projects almost done, but the project's not finished, so he's not getting paid that last cut of his check. So he's having a hard time paying the subcontractors, and the subcontractors are complaining, and rightfully so, but it's a vicious circle for the lack of a few parts. This is from a plumbing and air conditioning company. They're seeing a double and tripling of the prices that they have to pay for their supplies. Thermostats completely sold out for months. Freon is getting so expensive, people are making payments to the company after they have new Freon put in because they can't afford it. He says businesses and individuals can't sustain this much longer. This is coming from a golf and baseball instructor. He's a professional golf and baseball instructor for wealthy people that want the best for their kids and want one-on-one instructions. He's been doing it for 30 years. In 2008, he really didn't see a downturn, but now he's afraid there is a downturn coming. Parents are concerned, and these are more wealthy people. So this man is very concerned that his business is going to get very low, hard for him. This guy runs a side business building control panels for industrial use. He says the long lead time to get his supplies and equipment to build. So just more people want to work, but there's nothing to work with. This is a small town in South Carolina. Their Walmart was very low stocked, but now all of a sudden it's well stocked, and they also have in the parking lot 9 to 10 shipping containers in the parking lot. Don't know what's in them. Is this more supplies from China that were held up at the port and all of a sudden got here? This is from an underground natural gas foreman. Getting gas pipe and components. Hard. Delaying projects, slowing projects down. Also, he says concrete used to be easy to get for him to do his projects. Now it's almost impossible to get concrete. Motorhome, a standard C-Class. A salesman said it's selling for $50,000 higher today than 2 years ago. This is a traveling welder. He works in the food industry. Stainless steel pipe is going through the roof. He doesn't work on the money side of it. He does the actual work. So all he knows is his boss said the price is skyrocketing. This is a worker in a big box store in New England. The small green propane tanks, they're 2.5 weeks out. Walmart is always out of them. In his area, and camping supplies for his store trickle in. Most aisles have big bare spots. His fuel is running $4.60 to $4.79 a gallon. Depends where you get it. And diesel is about $6.05 a gallon. This is a water treatment plant on the East Coast. They treat 1.9 million gallons per day. Now, I've learned that a lot of chemicals are used to get clean water to people. And if we have some type of grid down or some type of real supply problem, there's going to be no clean drinking water for most of Americans unless you get it from a well. But he is seeing costs. It used to be $79 for 150-pound chlorine gas, I guess a tank, back in September. So $79 in September. Now it's over $200 and rising. Some type of chemical, sodium, was $737 for a 55-gallon drum. Now it's $1,200. A caustic soda they use for water purification, they get a whole tanker at a time. It was $6,000, now $13,000. A polymer product that they use for cleaning water used to be under $10,000, now it's $14,000. And that's not the worst part. Worst part is not getting some of this chemicals, taking a long time to get chemicals. And also parts and equipment to keep the water plant running, hard to find. This is officer in the South. There's just massively short officers. He also said the EMS are so short, very long response time at certain times of the day because they don't have enough people to man ambulance. Also vehicles and parts for repairing vehicles for emergency services, hard to get. This is from Reno, Nevada. He sent me this, or her. $630,000 for a medium home price. $630,000. That's crazy. A boat service provider in New Mexico, 2-year wait on outboard motors. This guy's opening a new distribution center for their company. Their headquarters based in New York, and it's going to be a distribution center in the South, so they've been working on it. He needs to buy some pallets. Normally he would pay $3.50 to $5 each for pallets, and those could be delivered in 2 to 3 days. Now he put an order in for $400 to $500, trying to get some quotes. He got 4 quotes, different quotes. They range in price from $10 to $14. So he normally is paying $3.50 to $5. Now he's going to pay anywhere from $10 to $14, depends on which contract he takes. And it's a 3-week delivery. He's needing 75 to 100 full-time workers to work at this small distribution center. There'll be order pickers, there'll be checkers, there'll be packers. He's offering $19 to $23 an hour, and so far they have received 11 applications over the past 3 weeks. This was going to be a 5-month project to get this facility up and running. It has taken 14 months, and they're just about ready to open the doors. But they don't have workers. This is Louisiana, a big box hardware store. They are cutting people's hours. Full-time is getting cut also. Some people that were part-time are already down to 10 hours a week. These orders are coming from management from higher up, and I guess it's just cost-cutting. So maybe businesses are seeing something coming down the pipe, and they're trying to cut as much cost and get as lean and mean as they can. This is a large power company in the Southeast. Expect rolling blackouts during peak demand. That'll probably be during the summer when it's very hot. This person is complaining that they order something, it gets lost in the delivery, and they go back and order, and the price is higher. So they order something, the company sends them a memo, say, oh, that was lost. You have to reorder again. This happened to a buddy of mine. I think he told me yesterday. Same thing. Buy something. Oh, it got damaged in shipping. He goes back to order, and the price is sky high. I don't know if they're doing that on purpose. This guy works for a large cell phone company. If I gave you the name, every single person would recognize it, but I can't do that. They're out of phones a lot of times because of the chip shortage. They're also requiring, if you want to get a new one, to trade your old one in, because they're taking that old one and reselling it to try to make some of the profits back. Also, they're using used phones and refurbishing them, and they're not really clear telling the new buyer that they're definitely an old phone. But they're designated with the CPO, their CPO. So when you buy a phone, if you want an absolutely brand new phone, make sure you say, is this a brand new phone? And make sure it's not a CPO, whatever that designation means. He says fees are going up. Employees' hours are getting cut across the board. He says normally that is done, and they know way in advance. This was done very quickly. So this is another company that is cutting back. They're probably watching the bottom line. Also, he said phones and tablets are probably going to have a 12% price increase. This is on the West Coast. This is an auto body repair guy. He's been doing it for 30 years. He says 2019 RAV4s, he can't get fenders for. 2020 Subarus, no fenders. When he does an estimate, they look at the car and they do the estimate, but as soon as they dig into the car and they can find different things broken inside, and that's normal, unseen hidden damage until they get really into it, and the estimates are skyrocketing after that, and they can't get parts. So they tear a person's car down, and it can be months and months and months to get parts in. And I know this for a fact because I have a friend that has a car in the shop, and it's been so long they went out and bought a new car, and their car's still in the shop. He also does work for a Chevy dealer and does their transportation damage. So, you know, you're moving vehicles around. If something gets damaged, they go to him in that area, and he fixes it, and then it goes back out in the showroom. He can't even get a lot of parts for the 2022s, I guess, because all the parts are being put into new cars. This is middle of the country. This person was trying to get some clover seed for their field. Hard time getting it. Also a hat company that makes, I guess, high-end hats because they use rabbit fur in them. And their source was from Ukraine, but that source has been cut off, so they've had to stop making their hats that have rabbit fur in them. This guy does a resale item, so I think it may be eBay, I'm not sure. But he says his sales are way down. They used to do about $1,800 a month. Now he's down to $400 a month. He lives in a small town, and he says he sees some restaurants closing. All right, let's go to Alaska. Alaska is experiencing a shortage of natural gas. They're not out of it, but it's getting harder to find, shorter, so that drives the price up. A lot of the cities in Alaska, he says, use the natural gas for heating. Also, some electric turbines run off natural gas for electricity up there. He says price next year to heat people's houses is going to be a lot higher, shockingly high. This is a firearm business. This is a manufacturer. He says sales are extremely slow. Inventory is piling up. He says point blank people are out of money. They're using it for rent and gas and food. A pest control company in the south. Their gas for their service trucks have all gone up. That's hurting them. Their chemicals have doubled. He says most pesticides are made in China or India, then sent over here bulk, and then they're blended and bottled in the U.S. He says one of the bottlers couldn't get bottles, one of the blenders, so that had big delays there. He says it's hard to make a profit. He is passing costs on to the consumer, the customer. He's scared for his business. This is Tennessee, concrete, all the cement, a cement plant, concrete plant. Won't do a small job. They don't have enough. So they're only doing their big customers have been with them forever because they want to keep them. So if you got a small job, you can't even get a delivery, which is hurting because there's drivers that aren't working all the time. There's not enough even for the big guys, so the drivers are not getting the hours that they need. So that's hurting the drivers. Alaska guy said there's a shortage of DEF and the heat. That's the diesel additives. Also, there's companies that have contracts with city water, and they are willing to break their contracts because the chemical prices in water purification has gone crazy, but they're sort of locked into delivering. So they're breaking their contract, and they'll fight it out in court because if not, they'll just go flat broke trying to honor contracts. Next, Texas. Persons notice that home goods are not selling. Even swimming pools are for sale, you know, smaller ones, and they're not selling at big box stores. This is a state agency in the center of the country. They are losing their UPS and their state couriers, and these are for all packages, ingoing and outgoing to different counties, different state agencies. So this is going to delay and take a lot longer to get information. And some of this is like medical documents, discs for people with cancer, TB, HIV. So it needs to be sent quickly and not lost. So they're going to have to use United States Postal Service and FedEx, and they're going to have to pay for them now. So it's going to be more expensive. Usually they could combine a lot of stuff in a delivery to go to a different, or to go to a county or a building. It was cheaper, but now it's going to cost them more money. This is a nurse in California. China makes most medical supplies, especially most of the disposables that we use in hospitals, and there's definitely a shortage. It's being felt across everywhere. It could even affect surgery, she says. She's looking for some contingency plans for management, but they haven't said anything yet. California